right. Welcome to Gen X Rated Tuesday edition. How we doing today, Billy?
Pretty good. Just enjoying my last day of my 50s.
Crazy, huh?
Getting, yeah, man, getting ready for what comes next, I guess. I don't know. A cane and a lazy boy recliner?
Something like that. Maybe retirement's in your future down the road. Who knows?
Not bloody likely, but yeah.
Only in America. Well, it's just
Mhm.
a number, as you know, and you're in phenomenal shape, and you make the effort, so it makes a difference. I have a good tie into our happy ending at the end, which I'll share with you later. But
Okay.
I say keep doing what you're doing; it's working for you.
Well, thanks. I'm trying.
Well, we'll have to celebrate tomorrow. But wow, that is a big one. There's no doubt.
That's a big one. Well, Kendall said I don't look a day over 59, so I'll take it.
Well, you're technically still 59, and she said that today.
Yeah.
Seems a bit insulting, but we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she is.
So, well, I'm glad. I think you'll do great. They say 60 is the new 50, and you rock the 50s. So,
That's what they say. Yeah, the 50s were good. I like the 50s.
and don't forget our friend, the Vietnam veteran who still plays hockey at a pretty good level at 76.
That is true.
So we all have goals. You just may not be scoring them, but you're living to that goal.
Well, I was never a big scorer to begin with, so
Yeah, I hear that. If it was all about that, neither of us would be playing. Okay.
yeah, right.
Fortunate for you, you play defense, so it's okay.
Yeah, as long as they don't score.
There
When
you
your
go.
whole job is getting in the way, I'm pretty good at that.
There you go. I would agree. Oftentimes we're in the same area.
Yeah, and apparently we've got a distant cousin who's a high-level hockey player.
Is that right? Let's not go into too much detail. I don't want to give away the ringer in the family.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe we can coerce him to come play with us.
Hmm. I'll wait on that one.
Yeah, not
But
likely.
yeah, we could always use some youth. That's for sure. So I wanted to touch on the ending of our last show. Apparently, my dog must have knocked the cord out. So it wasn't that I lost Wi-Fi; I just lost power to the studio. So you did a great job of finishing strong until technical difficulties got a hold of you. But I did hear the wrap up on that story. 2 nights in the hospital, and that guy walked out unscathed. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, really amazing.
So good job on that quick action of taking it because I was not coming back.
I didn't think so. So,
Spinning beach ball said you're on your own.
well, we managed.
Yeah, yeah. I just not the ending we looked for, but we were pretty close. A couple more sentences, and I would have been fine, but wasn't meant to be. So here we are today, back at it. I wanted to touch on a couple things that are happening. One thing that I thought was interesting that I wanted to start with was the big, beautiful bill, as they call it.
Ugh.
Um, Pretty amazing. People really are on board with it. It's going to be stupendous. But in that bill, and this was something that is just starting to come out. I mean, you put something like that out there, it's really hard to go through it all. They pushed it through super quickly, as we know, so that was a problem. Um, I'm going to put this photo up, but it all comes down to what's troubling to me is in that bill. There's a stipulation about AI, not A1, not the steak size this time, but AI. And what the bill has is that it bans all 50 states from regulating AI for the first 10 years. It centralizes control at the federal level, and they're going to use integrated AI systems in key federal agencies.
What could
So,
go wrong?
what could go wrong, and why? Why are we limiting states to have control over this? Seemed strange to me. The
Hmm.
picture I put up was 3 Mile Island. I'm sure you're
Yep.
super familiar with that,
Oh,
being
yeah.
Pennsylvania. Um, just as a little bit of background, 3 Mile Island was the site of the most serious nuclear accident we've had in this country, radiation leak, biggest in U.S. history.
Yeah, I remember waking up and seeing that when I was in what, sixth, seventh grade?
Yeah, I mean, it was 79, right?
Mhm.
This is what you saw the next day. For those at home, that's a phone booth. You probably don't see that too much. But 3 Mile Island was closed that day. The interesting
Right.
part is that I'll start with Meta. So Meta has signed a deal with a nuclear power plant to power their AI and their data centers. This is a 20-year deal, and it's with Constellation Energy, which is in Illinois. If you dig a little bit deeper, Google has an agreement to supply its data centers with nuclear power. They have
Hmm.
about a half a dozen small reactors in California to make that happen. And lastly, and the reason why I put up 3 Mile Island, Microsoft has a similar deal, and they are literally going to restart 3 Mile Island nuclear plant in order
Wow.
to use their nuclear power for their AI and data centers.
So I guess maybe it's kind of a good news, bad news. I mean, AI is very energy intensive. So instead of using fossil fuels, I guess it's a step in the right direction. But it is concerning. I mean, when you're seeing, you're taking control of it away from the states, and basically, who's more wired into the government right now than the tech bro billionaires?
That's right. And
So
we met
essentially, you're handing control of it to them.
more or less, yeah, because they have the money.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
again, what could possibly go wrong there?
And when you talk about these power plants or these nuclear plants, I mean, there's a standard. Uh, you're supposed to stay on top of maintenance, etc. And maybe these guys that have billions of dollars are a little less concerned with that. Uh,
Well, I don't know. Maybe, and on the other hand, just to play devil's advocate, maybe they will be on top of it because they have the resources to keep it maintained and up to date. And because if it goes down, it's their AI product that's, not working. So I don't know. The whole thing's pretty baffling though.
well, it's a nice thought, but I get a mental picture of them just shoveling more workers into the fire pit. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
we've seen Musk do that with his
Yeah.
exploding rockets.
Exactly. So uh, we have plenty of people we can throw into that nuclear problem that's not going to affect me. But just the tie in between this bill and AI and the fact that all these tech bros are tying in their AI to nuclear power. I'm not saying nuclear power is the devil. I think it is a source that we have to use. But you see, there's a reason why 3 Mile Island didn't come back online.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, but interestingly enough, a lot of environmentalists are now back on board with nuclear power. So it's kind of a thing in the environmentalist community.
Well, and it's part of the equation. I'm not saying it's not, but when you have three giants jumping on, it kind of tips the scales a little bit to its importance. Maybe it takes more
Mhm.
importance than solar, which Trump's already cutting, or wind power, which Trump despises, or we haven't even got into tidal power or anything like that. So I just
Yeah.
don't want to stunt where we could be going with our green power.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if they were looking at nuclear as just kind of a bridge, kind of a stopgap. Like, okay, we'll get it up and running with this while we develop,
Something new.
wind and solar and tidal. But I don't think that's the way these guys think.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you're absolutely right about that. I thought it was interesting that MTG, when this was brought up to her, she hadn't read that in the bill. It's one of the things that got past her.
I don't
Uh,
think she's read much in that bill.
but she's totally against it. Okay, let's just say that she hates it and she's super against it. We'll see what that.
Interesting.
We'll see. That just means maybe somebody needs to grease her a little bit. I don't know.
Ah, this
So
is such a horrible bill.
the bill's terrible, though. KK Caroline says it's amazing, and the CBO, who's saying it's going to add trillions to our deficit. None of them gave to any Republican candidates since 2000. I mean, they just pull up all this stuff that makes it partisan. I don't think these numbers are partisan. I don't think the CBO is
I
partisan.
don't think they are either. Even Musk is railing against it.
That was new today. And
Mhm.
her answer was that Trump already knew how he felt about it. And it's still a big, beautiful bill, baby.
Trump doesn't know anything about anything. That guy is asleep at the wheel. His prefrontal cortex is disintegrating by the day. I mean, just even, his answer to the taco question. Well, I cut it by this much. 50%, then 50%, and then another number. I don't think that guy can keep too many facts in his brain at the same time.
Well, they should write it down. And Taco came up yesterday
He
because
doesn't read.
he extended the tariff on China till July. So maybe even to August. I mean, he never knows from day to day. But the point is, he is a taco. You can't fight that.
Yeah, and he's given tacos a bad name because they are delicious and amazing. Everybody loves tacos. I could go for a taco right now. It is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. He's really mad about that stuff too. So lay off.
I hope people show up at his his big birthday victory parade dressed as tacos.
Well, and they already have. There were a dozen food trucks, taco trucks outside of the White House. So I think the message is out there. I don't have a picture of this, but just because I mentioned the White House, if you see pictures, you should see them in the next couple of days. But Trump's put a a putting area. It looks like a par 3 on the grounds of the White House. It's a little weird looking and kind of out of context, but if he gets a hold of one, look out. You're going to need some windows replaced at the White House because it's right there. Insane.
Unbelievable.
Insane. Oh, I won't have time to golf. I'll be so busy. I'm so busy.
So busy. Oh, it's golf time. It's golf o'clock.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So I wanted to talk about as well Job Corps. These are some of the cuts that we're going over. This is Job Corps in St. Petersburg, Florida. I know there's a big one in Pennsylvania. They're everywhere, frankly. And the whole goal of Job Corps, which was established in 1964, part of the Economic Opportunity Act, which tells you right there that this is to help people in poverty. Lo and behold, the shutdown affects 40,000 kids coming from poverty. And basically what Job Corps does is they help people ages 16 to 24 complete their education, get job training, and find jobs. I mean,
it also gives some of them a place to live.
Some people.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about, some of these young people are coming from extremely poor backgrounds.
Or maybe a violent background or a broken home where they have issue. But yeah, that's a lot of people. And this was suspended, so they haven't cut it yet.
Yeah.
But they did come out against it. They did feel like it was, the labor secretary said that it was no longer achieving its intended goals. Makes you wonder whose goals we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I compare this to the USPS, which is a service, not a business. Job Corps was never meant to be a business. They're not there to make money. Now, the government will say they're $213 million in debt, creating a deficit. But you could say that about a lot of things that aren't caring to lower income people and trying to give them a future. To me, this was supposed to be a service, not a business.
Well, yeah, this is something that helps people better their lives. And, for all the noise that they've made recently about, oh, we're going to commit to the trades. Everybody needs to have a trade. Well, this is a program that does exactly that.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do it? It's so hypocritical. And I think it's just it's bald-faced racism.
Well, I think you're right about that too. And it continues. So this visual is Operation Good. Operation Good is out of Mississippi, and they do a similar thing. It's mainly in lower income areas of Mississippi where there's a lot of violence and poverty. Mm-hmm. And again, they bring you in and they have conversations with these young men. Most are Black or Latino, but just about work in general. Are you working? Are you working towards finding work? Are you have a skill for work, etc.? And they'll talk about just basic stuff in the house, like what bills you have to pay when you own an apartment or rent an apartment, rather. Just so you can prioritize. This is information that if you're not from a stable home, you might not know.
Yeah.
And it seems like the last part of it is dealing with conflict. Conflict tends to end in violence. It's something they're trying to avoid. And then this same program, Operation Good, will do summer programs for these kids. So again, it's 16 to 24, and they will generally find odd jobs for them, or cutting grass, or doing, some kind of cleanup or something to keep them busy.
Well, it keeps them busy, puts a little money in their pocket. When you have no money and way too much time on your hands, you get frustrated, you get angry, and you can make bad decisions.
For sure. And time is the part that you said. We did talk to a friend of ours who did work for Job Corps one summer, and their job was cleaning up a church, and they felt like they could have gotten the work done a lot faster because it was so super boring. But they were told from the person running the program just to slow down. We have all summer. And again, the point is not necessarily you're not learning how to use a broom, but you are filling your time with something other than standing around and thinking of ways to find money if you aren't offered work, type of thing, or just putting yourself in a bad situation. So
yeah,
pace yourself, and then you do get paid. It does put a little scratch in your pocket, which is always nice for all of us.
well, and yeah, and just as important, it gives these young people, a vision of the future. It gives them a direction. It gives them, some hope, something to move forward to.
Plus,
But yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I was gonna, and again, they're pinching pennies and throwing away $100 bills. I mean, this program is a drop in the bucket compared to Trump's ridiculous parade that he wants to throw. I mean, what was that? What's that? 92 million out the
We're
window
getting
for
up to
that
that.
stupid spectacle. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The money that they're pissing away on just bullshit stuff. And you're cutting programs that are vital, that help people, that actually help people, because,
Yeah.
well, we can't possibly afford that. It's not working.
It's not doing what we
It's
thought
just
it was going to
cruel.
do. They do say that in these areas of poverty, the main underlying faction for violence are people living in impoverished situations
Impoverished.
where
Yeah.
you don't have a whole lot of hope, you don't have a lot of opportunity in front of you, and you're seeing a lot. We talked about this with social media. You're seeing a lot more than you had. Um, I wouldn't say that this is a career right here, but it is experience. It is putting skin in the game, and it is going to propel you into something else. Even just the interactions that you're having with others. It's all very positive, but now it's
Yeah.
gone.
And, they tell you that when you get stuck, put on your shoes and start walking, because it'll lead you somewhere. And
Sure.
that's what these programs do. This may not be your career, but it's going to lead you somewhere. I mean, you're walking, you're getting out there and you're doing, and that's the important thing. Because when you take away hope, we all saw the Shawshank Redemption, and hope is a good thing.
Yeah,
Remember that, Red.
that's right.
So, and especially when you're young, man, and these they're surrounded by the haves. You look on social media, you see, and a lot of it's just fake, but you see what everybody have and what they're flaunting. And when you have nothing, it can be frustrating, it can be maddening. So yeah, to rob them of hope is just, I think it's really cruel.
I
And
think so too.
I'd like to see, if there are any good billionaires, I'd like to see one step up and maybe write a check. It's nothing to you when you have
Sure.
that kind of money and those resources. So why wouldn't you?
Well, it's not really in our culture anymore. I mean, it's we're getting back to those with the most toys win type of thing. So
Hmm.
I just don't know if it's worth it to them. But by the same token, they want these people working, but they aren't necessarily giving the opportunity. And we've talked about this in the past. When you have senseless murders of especially young people that just kill other young people, no matter the race. Sometimes it's from lack of like understanding and even having it register that, yeah, that guy has all this and I just killed him or I shot him, but it doesn't go with you. Like they just aren't putting it together that you just ended that person's life. So anything they had is no more. Uh,
Yeah.
and, and I think part of that comes from not having those conversations, not giving the time to the youth of these impoverished areas to kind of show you care, willing to give some help. You do count. And when you don't matter, then how do your actions matter? If I don't count and nobody cares, how does my actions affect anybody?
Yeah. Well, not to mention, your brain's not fully formed till you're what, like 21, 22,
26.
26? So yeah. So there you go. I mean, you're not really, capable of fully thinking things through.
Yeah.
It's very easy to make rash decisions.
Well, and
Look at
especially
Trump. That guy's brain never really fully matured. Look at the rash decisions he makes.
so true. Yeah, he's a scary one, that guy. So those things have been cut. Just as an example, Operation Good has had a 2-year, $250,000 grant that was terminated. That was 20% of their budget. So it seems the numbers are legit in that it's going into what the project's designed for. Whether that makes people that write the checks warm and fuzzy doesn't really matter because they're not in those areas. So they shouldn't just idly turn and say, hey, we're not going to fund this. If you don't know about it, don't cut it. Learn about it, educate yourself, and then maybe you'll see the value in it for all of us.
Yeah. Well, and it also, it has a downstream effects because there are a lot of nonprofits that, the kids in this project work with. And so it's going to affect them too.
For sure. Yeah, you're right. Well, I guess we'll see how this goes, but on the norm, you're not necessarily living with gun violence and sexual assaults and hate crimes, but there are areas that deal with it every day. It's a part of their life. So
It's true that, the wealthy and the decision makers in this country don't really care. And, whose administration did this program come up under in 1964? Was LBJ, a Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah. Along with your Civil Rights Act, et cetera. Yeah.
The war on poverty, the Great Society. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you're not going to see that under a Republican regime.
And it's 60 years later, and it's like as if that stuff isn't an issue anymore when we're having more trouble voting now than we ever have.
Oh, yeah. They're rolling it back because, John Roberts decided, you know what? We don't need that Voting Rights Act. Anybody can vote these days. I mean, it's just
and you really
ridiculous.
can't. You're right about that. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that they'll get private funding for some of these. We're coming into summer. Summer heat and idle time makes people crazy. So hopefully we can avoid some of that. But, we talk about the manufacturing. We're going to bring all this manufacturing in. And we mentioned on the last show, there's 500,000 jobs right now in manufacturing that can't be filled. Manufacturing imports fell to 39.9, which was the lowest since 2009. Was that part of the housing crisis in 2009?
I don't know. Maybe.
The financial crisis, 2009?
Well, that was 08, wasn't it? But
okay. 08,
it extended into 09 for sure.
It just makes me wonder. U.S. goods imports fell by 20% just in April. Also the largest drop on record for our nation. So I know the shelves look pretty good. I know that we're talking about all the tariff money that's coming in. At least the administration heads are saying how much money is coming in. It's just rolling in.
Where is it? Where are we seeing it? Because the numbers aren't backing that up. If
Well, they say be patient, just wait. And these deals are coming down the pike like you couldn't believe. So
you wouldn't believe it's the greatest deals ever. It's called depreciation.
And I'm not believing it. Well, we'll see. I think we're being gaslit. That's all I can really say.
He does tend to have a a tendency to do that. So, but hey, he's of the Costanza theory, where if you truly believe it, it's not really a lie.
And he does. I mean, there's no doubt. I'm going to jump to some other cuts. This is state by state. I know Florida's in. I'm sure anybody in the Gen X age knows what these are. We've all had them, some more than others. These are fillings.
It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I found out that when you do get a cavity filled, the dentist uses Novocaine. We had that guy, that dentist. He just went right to the drill.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. I had no idea.
He was not a fan of using needles, I guess.
I think he thought it was punishment. You know what? You got a cavity. You deserve this. Oh God, it was horrible.
So here is a nice photo of some cavities. They almost look like baby teeth. I'm hoping for this kid that there'll be a replacement coming, but I'm not really sure.
What
The reason
happened there?
I don't know. The reason why I bring that up is because state by state we are getting rid of fluoride. Um, Now the projections are starting to come out. I know Florida's done it. I know is it Ohio's the other one that started this? But in 5 years, 8% more children will have U.S. children ages 0 to 19. Obviously, 0, you don't have teeth yet, but they're going to get cavities. It's going to affect over 25 million kids, and it ends up costing the country money. So now you're looking at almost $10 billion just based on a 5-year projection of not having fluoride in the water.
That's nuts.
And is this just an RFK Jr. recommendation? I mean, like, who's hating on the fluoride so much?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And they cite studies, but other experts cite more studies that show that fluoride is beneficial.
And the problem
Um,
is, a lot of their studies are just made up. We
mhm.
saw that when he did the Make America Healthy Again. I mean, a lot of that research wasn't even fact or
Yeah.
true.
Ha 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 ha. Although it's not that funny, but
Yeah, it's not.
it's more
Um,
in the ridiculous category.
But there's a pattern there because they've also cut like HIV funding for vaccines. That's $258 million critical to research. I
Mhm.
read an article overseas about they were very close to having solved HIV, to have a vaccination for it. Now, when you take away 258 million, again, it's just like with Job Corps, 213 million. This is 258 million. Where do you want to spend your money? Type of thing.
Crypto, baby.
That does make one guy rich. You're
Get
right.
on the Trump crypto train. We're all going to get rich.
The gold standard. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. It's the greatest, okay?
So we're going to see how many of these cuts actually pass through. You did mention before we started that the House did vote to defund Planned Parenthood. We talked about this the other day. 4 out of 6 Planned Parenthoods in Iowa are already closed. I think we have one left in St. Louis that's fighting the good fight. And I will say, as we've reiterated, Planned Parenthood is about helping people with health choices and care.
Mhm.
If you can't afford to go to the doctor with your copay per se, you can go there. You can get tested. You can get advice. You can get medication. This isn't about you go in and everybody gets an abortion. It's just
Yeah,
not
it's not an abortion mill.
correct.
It's just not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they go after that too. The morning after pill, it's not safe. Vaccines, not safe. I don't know what world they live in where they're ultra protected by doing nothing.
Yeah,
But
well, they don't care. It's just, again, it's the cult of the fetus. Well, the unborn deserve a chance. They're not born. It's a collection of cells. And again, nobody's doing live birth abortions,
no, God
right?
no.
Nobody's doing late stage term abortions. It's just ridiculous. But these people they're just zealots, religious nut
It,
jobs.
yeah, it's too much. It's just them imposing their will because they're able to fly to Europe if they had an accident or their kid had an accident or whatever. So
Yeah, a lot of them, and a lot of them are people that are just piss poor, but they think abortion is the most evil thing in the world. And listen, nobody's signing up. Nobody's like, oh, I'll get an abortion. Abortion. No, nobody gets one unless they're desperate.
they turned it into, oh well, that's how you that's your birth control. I'll just do that, and it's
Yeah,
too
no, I don't think anybody thinks like that. I don't see anybody that's really willing to put themselves through that
sure.
repeatedly. I mean, people make mistakes, accidents happen. Why should somebody be penalized? It's just ridiculous. What gives you the right to determine their future? Because the condom broke, right? Or they just, happen to have some unprotected sex.
Or as
It
we talked
happens.
about, the stepdad, the incestual thing, the fill in the blank, the rapist. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. The mother's, um, you know, her life, etc. I mean, there's always circumstances to any situation.
Well, the brain dead woman in Georgia, they had to keep alive till they could deliver her baby. I mean, who does that? That's insane.
It's a little bit crazy. Yeah, I mean that's where we are right now. They're just not thinking straight. That's all I can think of.
I mean, is this what you get when you live in a country, founded by Puritans? Seriously, I mean, you know what? You know what country doesn't seem to have that kind of problem? Australia, founded by convicts.
That's
I've
true.
been there. They know how to have fun.
Yeah, well, that's very true. The Puritan part though makes me laugh because Mike Johnson just seems like a weirdo.
He is a weirdo. Well, the Pilgrims, the Puritans were weirdos,
But they
religious
were pure.
freaks. They were crazy. They hated women.
That seems legit still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still a lot of that going around. Um, it's just Jesus Christ. That's what you get.
It's a little too much. We don't really delve into too much understanding or care if it doesn't affect us per se, and we're having this major disconnect between haves and have-nots, and we see it every day
Well, and the disconnect's only getting wider and bigger. That's not
for
going to
sure.
change. And it just, it's like pressure just building up and building up and building up. And, these situations generally don't end well.
You're right.
The French Revolution, I mean, yeah, it's not a good long-term strategy to have this kind of situation go on. And the Republicans, the GOP are just, they're all in. They're all in about, just letting it ride, let it rip. Rich are
Anything
going to
and
get
everything.
richer, and the rest of you, well, just wait. It's going to be great. Don't worry.
Appease Russia. We're still looking to take over Greenland. Just stuff that doesn't really matter to the guy on the ground that needs help now.
Well, did Trump really suggest that Ukraine should pay Russia back for those fighter planes and bombers they destroyed?
Unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, that's an amazing story how they took 18 months to design this war plan, essentially.
And they kept the U.S. out of it,
That's right.
which
No
was
need for
smart.
no need for Starlink either. The French helped them with some satellite imagery type of thing. My point is that this went on for 18 months. Uh, the plan went off without a hitch because the next day, um, Russia was going to have their single biggest bombing campaign over Ukraine. All those jets were loaded up and ready. They were fueled up and ready to do some major destruction. Uh,
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Don't fuck with Ukraine. Apparently, Trump wasn't aware that Zelensky does have some cards left to play.
I thought that was interesting because that was how many weeks before when he was getting undressed and pantsed by Trump in the Oval Office. It had to be what,
Hmm.
10 weeks ago, easy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, when he told him he didn't hold any cards, clearly they'd been working on this for a while. So pretty impressive. Russia's in trouble, but they have us as support. So that's the only thing that's really helping their economy and giving Vladdy hope is the fact that he's got this puppet in our White House.
yeah, we're aligned with the bad guys. Great.
It is a little bit crazy. Um, I hope our allies will stand by as we work our way through this as a nation because this is just extremely un-American and
It is
upsetting to anybody
un-American.
paying attention.
Yeah, that's not who we are.
I never have been. So we'll see. But they keep promising more. KK Caroline keeps pumping up the volume on the big, beautiful bill, and everything's amazing. So
Well, just getting up there and lying, but maybe Ty Cobb was right, that nobody really listens to her. Nobody takes her seriously. She's just a talking head spouting a bunch of lies.
I think it's going to get to that point. And to our message about him, why every day? Why do we have to listen to his incoherent thoughts? Why is he getting so much airtime when he could be doing other things like sitting in an intelligence briefing with hand puppets or whatever it takes?
Yeah, no,
He's
he's
not
not
doing
going to do
his
that.
duties. He's just making money.
Hmm.
So the sooner people realize that, I mean, this is another thing. Trump's preparing to rename Navy vessels. A couple of them that he's renaming: the Harriet Tubman, Thurgood Marshall, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Rename them all. We don't need these in our Navy.
We're going to name them all Trump.
You got nothing else to do?
The Trump
Nothing else
1, the
to do.
Trump 2, the Trump 3, the Trump 4. Yeah, and it's so blatant. It's just blatant racism and misogyny.
It's pretty insane.
It is insane. We're
But
living in
again,
an insane time.
less people are more acceptable of it. I mean, we had this terroristic attack in Boulder.
Yeah, and they're
That
blaming the Biden administration for it. Yeah, they let him in, but you let him overstay. Why? Maybe because he's a white guy, a
they
white
gave him a
Egyptian looking guy.
yeah. Though his first name was Muhammad, they probably should have been keeping an eye on him. But yeah, the Trump administration didn't deport this guy, so now it's Biden's fault, as everything else is.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
nothing's ever their fault.
they've already taken his wife and kids, and they're on their way to Deport City. But this tragedy is just a great way for them to put shade on Biden and to really push this. Oh, he was illegal. He was illegal. Let's get rid of all the illegals. I think what you're seeing if you're watching any kind of news is that neighborhoods are protecting their own at this point. They went into San Diego into an Italian restaurant to pull these people out,
I saw that.
and the people came out of their houses. They want to know who these people were. Why are you taking them? Who are you? Where's your badge? Where's your ID? This isn't America. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, even here in small town Missouri, a small farming community that 80% of them voted for Trump, one of their favorite waitresses at the pancake house, wherever their breakfast place, didn't show up one day after like 15 years. She was deported, and they were upset.
Wow.
Yeah, like what did you think? Well, we didn't think what happened to her. Huh? Really? Well, it did. That's what you get.
I heard a funny story. You talk about these, ranchers and such, and agriculture people that they're losing their employees. But there was one agriculture company that called ICE to have their workers taken away because they didn't want to pay them. I mean, how dickish is that?
That is so dickish. And who was going to do the work then?
It was in Texas, I might add.
Of course.
We'll find some other guys until we have to pay them. Then we'll get them deported too.
Word gets out. Nobody's going to want to work there.
It's already out. Nobody's interested in that. We're just waiting for those amazing manufacturing jobs that are coming here.
Oh, yeah.
If you ask anybody that knows history or is involved currently in politics, it's not a thing. It's never going to happen. We're not going to be building giant plants here. It's never going to happen. It's just gaslighting.
Ask any contractor or any worker who's done work for Trump. You never get paid. The shit that he promises never happens.
Yeah. Well, more people are waking up to it, I do believe.
I think so. I mean, Jesus Christ, how many times do you have to get punched in the face before you realize the guy's punching you in the face?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it's about time. How did you miss this? But I guess it's, it's all about self-interest until it affects you. Well, I didn't think they would come after me. I didn't think they'd take anybody that I know.
Healthcare. Yeah, we collectively have to think of like our economy, our environment, our civil liberties, because that's what it is. It's not just about you or I.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're all in this together, whether we want to be or not.
Correct. I'm going to ask to get off this ride if this keeps up. Okay. It's too much.
Yeah, I'm not really enjoying it.
Man, it's a little bit crazy. I know before I get to my happy ending, you probably want to jump in with a bucko minute. All right. Well, give me your other piece of news about the Knicks.
Oh, yeah, dude, they fired their head coach.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I don't really know why.
I don't know. I really don't. I think like immediately after the elimination game, they asked the GM and he said, yeah, no, he's not going anywhere. The guy had just signed an extension, 3-year extension last summer.
Got him to the conference finals.
Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me, but who knows? It just seems pretty short-sighted.
I think he was as surprised as anybody, and they really had a good season. I don't see the Celtics firing their coach.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe they'll say because Tatum got hurt, but I don't know. How's that? I thought the Knicks played pretty well. And
I thought they did too, and I thought they gave the Celtics all they could handle even with Tatum before he got hurt.
I couldn't agree more.
We watched some of those games, so I don't know. We're kind of hitting that point of the calendar where there's, the NFL, the OTAs and the mini camps are going to be winding down. So you got that dead period where the whole NFL shuts down till training camp.
Basketball.
Basketball, hockey, the finals. When did the Stanley Cup finals
I
start?
think tomorrow, Wednesday.
All right, so we'll finally get some of that going. That should be pretty interesting.
You got
We'll see.
7 games max. You got 7 games max of the NBA, and then what you got? You're on hiatus. You got nothing but baseball.
Baseball and training camp updates, and maybe we'll see Aaron Rodgers show up. Maybe he'll bless the Steelers with his presence, or maybe not.
Or maybe not. Mason's looking pretty good so far, and they seem to like that 6th-round pick.
Well, and I forgot to mention, I did see that the Steelers actually had to send out an email to people. A lot of ticket holders and a lot of fans were complaining about Trump showing up and the Steeler players being up there. I mean, Rocky Blyer, come on, really, Rock? Giving him a Mel Blount jersey and telling Trump he's an honorary Steeler.
That was disappointing.
There's nothing Steeler-like about that guy.
Agreed.
Trump. And and Mason just handled it. He didn't go overboard. And when asked about that, about the pushback, he said, "Hey, it's a free country. People can have a right to express their opinions." But the worst one was Miles Killebrew. I've never seen anybody suck up so badly.
That was pretty bad.
He was like a sponge up there. Like, dude, what are you doing?
No, Mason did. He did make the comment, as you said, but he also explained that he'd had a lifelong childhood friend in D.C. that's big in the steel industry, and he had asked him to come out and check out the mill and be a part of this. And like I said the other day, I mean, he had been to the Oval Office when Trump wasn't there, so I don't think it was a political statement by any means by Mason, but I think he was supporting a friend, and I think that goes to his character.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
Said, "Hey, this is great for Pittsburgh, and go Steelers," basically.
Yeah, and then right after that, Trump jacked up some tariffs on steel and aluminum.
And then he turned away from Trump. I don't know. I give him a lot of credit for that.
I'd like to see that guy get a chance. I don't think he kills you as a starter.
I don't either, but he's not Rodgers, I guess.
Yeah, Rodgers is one of a kind, man. But you're 42 years old.
Yeah, you're coming back from major injury, and you just don't seem to have your head in the game.
You really don't. Are you in or you're out? And if you were in, you would have thought you would have been there for OTAs and maybe even before that, just to get to know your coaches, get into the playbook, meet some of these guys, get some work in with your receivers, because he does run a very detailed offense. He when he was in Green Bay, I don't know if he did it with the Jets, but he had a lot of elaborate hand signals with his receivers, things that require a lot of time and repetition. And if you're not even getting into that until camp starts, you're already behind the 8 ball.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it will either. And honestly, I think it's for the best.
I would agree. Not very Steeler-like.
It's not. And he just doesn't seem to really be a good fit for them. And again, he's going to be 42 coming off, two seasons removed from a torn Achilles.
Yeah. And maybe just a bad attitude is my whole thing.
Yeah.
I did want to say, we talked about the renaming of ships. I'm sure everybody knows who Harvey Milk is. If not, he was the mayor in San Francisco, correct?
Was he the mayor or was he
in the House?
Yeah, I can't remember, but oddly enough, tying that into the Steelers, he was assassinated the day that the Steelers had a Monday night game in San Francisco.
Wow.
1978.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while. I was going to say that he served in the Korean War. He on the USS Kitty Hawk, on a rescue submarine. He was a diving officer during the war. He was later a diving instructor. He was a lieutenant in the service, and he was an officer that saved lives. Hegseth gave the orders through military.com to strip the name of Harvey Milk from that ship.
That's disgusting. I mean, what these people, the things that they do, and Hegseth, the fact that he's even still sitting in that chair, it's absurd. It's absurd. It makes no sense at all. It's ridiculous. And he's managed to survive not one, but 2 fuck-ups that we know about. I mean, this guy, you talk about DEI hires.
Yes. He's the
doing that just based on, Harvey Milk's sexual preference. Who cares? And on that note, how about Jonathan Joss, the voice actor, played the voice of John Redcorn
Oh, and King of the Hill.
on King of the Hill, murdered by a neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah,
Crazy.
got down dead. He also played a role. I mean, he had a lot of parts. He had a really good career, and he
Yeah.
seems like a really good guy, really well loved and respected throughout Hollywood. He was on Parks and Rec. But apparently, him and his husband had a house in Texas, and it burned down. And they went back. I guess there was still mail coming there. They went to check their mail, and they discovered the skull and the corpse of one of their dogs
Oh, shit.
hanging there in his harness, which apparently their hateful neighbor had put there, and words were exchanged. I mean, rightfully so. That's pretty upsetting. And the neighbor shot him dead.
Over that.
Off, and he has been captured. And I think he is going to be charged with a hate crime.
Good. And he should be.
Because the guy was, Native American and gay.
We're not a very tolerant country these days.
Who gives a shit? And dude, look at the GOP. So many of these people that are so.
Oh, Lindsay.
They're so anti-queer, so anti-LGBTQ. Why? Unless you're covering up something. Why? What do you care? Live and let live. Good people are good people. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Get to know them. Well, that is not a happy ending, Billy.
No.
I'm getting to the happy ending.
Okay.
And there it is, to the right.
To the right.
I'm going to start with this. There was a new poll out in the last 24 hours. If the election was held today, 55% of Americans would vote for Kamala Harris. It took less than 6 months for Trump voters to regret their decision. That's not necessarily going to change anything, but at least lets you know that people are frustrated with their choices.
Well, that's good to see. I mean, fuck, it's about time. But the Democrats now need to get their shit together. I mean, I don't know if you saw that article about Fetterman. He basically is just locking himself in his office. Doesn't go to meetings. Doesn't go to briefings.
He's missed at least 30 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not doing the work of the people, that's for sure.
And if it's a mental health issue, he's admitted that. He's come out to it. So deal with it. But what are you doing, man? You're just a giant disappointment. But I did see where the Democrats are talking about convening something where both ends of the party spectrum get together and exchange ideas and kind of brainstorm. So,
okay.
Maybe they'll create some dialogue, and maybe they're all realizing now that, there's a giant problem here. And we need to get it together. So, maybe there is some hope, but there is an opening for them if they can get it together and take advantage of it. And we'll see. I think, the AOCs and Bernie Sanders is obviously not a Democrat. He's an independent. But I think they have a message that resonates across party lines with a lot of people. So
there's a lot of good progressive.
If they're smart, if Chuck, if Schumer can get on board and put this away, we will win. Uninspiring bullshit and foot dragging and GOP Trump bootlicking. Maybe there's a chance. We'll see.
Well, that would be a happy ending if that were to happen.
That would be a happy ending.
I'm going to jump to my happy ending. There's a couple people out taking a walk in nature. Looks lovely. Apparently, there's a study that being active in nature can help people with chronic back pain. More particular, low back pain, which is something that affects about a quarter of Americans. Low back pain. So the benefits,
probably half of all hockey players.
So the benefits are not only physical but mental. The sounds of running water, being out in the fresh air, it gives you a feeling of tranquility. It can be as little as the first 5 minutes in nature can start to regulate your sympathetic nervous system, which lowers your stress, can lower your risk for chronic disease, illness, mortality, not to mention the social end of it. If you can learn to walk with a friend or the interactions that you see on certain trails when you're out in nature. It really is something that, as you just said, you're moving, you're walking, mobility. They say, oh, well, maybe I'm a little unstable. It's uneven terrain. It's a great way to work on strength of those muscles, your balance. I mean, a lot of positives, but I feel like the mental space is important. And if it's taking away from any pain you have, I mean, it's off the charts good.
Oh, that's a win-win. And even, if you walk in what they call the zone 2 area, you're burning fat.
And that's where you can fast enough, but you can still have a conversation.
You can still have a conversation. Yeah, they call it the talk test. And, you know, even 20 to 30 minutes of that is good for your health. It's good for your heart. You know, so even if you're, you know, if you're not an athletic person, if you're overweight, you know, just get out there and walk. And I can tell you for sure, just from personal experience, you know, I try to walk almost every day, and there's a park near us. Um, you know, and you walk through there, there's a waterfall, there's a pond. I mean, you know, and it just, you know, when you're doing that first thing in the morning and you're walking past that waterfall, you hear the water, and it's just, you know, it's a really nice way to start your day.
As opposed to doom scrolling.
Yeah, exactly.
I would agree.
Where you just want to crawl back under the covers.
And it's kind of twofold. It gets you out from behind the computer for one. It gets you away from looking at your phone. That doesn't mean you can't be listening to a podcast,
Hmm.
Gen X rated or another of your choice. But point being, like sometimes just observing and being out in it shows that we're a very small part of this whole thing. Uh,
Oh yeah.
we went through the phases of the moon, how I just it's untouchable. It's something I feel can't be taken from me. I'm in awe of it. uh,
Hmm.
let's avoid, did we land on it, are there aliens on it, are they enslaving people on the dark side of the moon? That's all great. We can have that kind
Yeah.
of conversation over
What
some
did
of
they
our
see? Why were they so freaked out in that press conference? Did they have their memories erased? I mean, come on, really?
it's insane. And again, we can have that debate separately, but you're missing the whole point, which is to appreciate the just the majesticness of the whole thing. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, another
So
thing to your point about walking, being in nature, they say that when you spend some time just walking barefoot in the grass, that the, you know, electromagnetic pulse of the earth kind of courses through you, and it's very calming and therapeutic.
it's called grounding,
Grounding. Hmm.
but you have to do at least 17 minutes. You can't just walk out and walk in.
Oh yeah, but you know, 17 minutes well spent.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we all need that mental space. We deal with so much. We're being bombarded with so much misinformation and just terrible news day after day. Uh,
Hmm.
take that 17 minutes to ground yourself. Take that 20-minute walk just to get out and realize that, life goes on even with these crazy decisions and everything. The planet for now is still here. Let's try and enjoy some of that while we can.
Yeah, and you know, do what we can to make it better because we still can. We're not done yet.
And if you can get out there and appreciate it, maybe that sends a little bit more urgency to wanting to keep that.
Hmm.
So we'll see. But that was my happy ending. I thought that was extremely positive, mentally and physically. So I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to walk my dogs.
Well done. Very nicely done.
Thank you. Well, Billy, I'm going to have to let you go. We're up over 50 some minutes. It's 4:20,
Well, okay.
and you have ice tonight. So
Damn. Okay.
I'm going to let you go on that one. But
All right.
well, good job today. Good talking to you as always. Talk to you later.